planning stage. And from what I've read, I've seen that odd sort of statement, which is, the harder the path to raising funding, the more likely it is you're doing something disruptive. And I'd really be interested in your sense of advice, probably rather than coaching, but what are the sort of milestones and metrics that help you distinguish between optimism and kind of self-delusion about your idea?
Yeah. Please tell me more about what it is you're doing and hope to do.
I would like to put together an aggregator for shared mobility, for on-demand shared mobility. I've done, if you want to get from A to B without a vehicle, you have to go onto each individual portal, whether it's Zipcars, whether it's Enterprise Cars, whether it's, Easy Cars. And you have to put in all your metrics and you have to do, a comparison. This would be, an on-demand aggregator that brings together all of these options so that you can, if you're a non-car owner, you can get from A to B, starting in urban areas.
Okay, you're coming in and out. Sorry. Starting in an area?
Starting in urban areas. Oh. A sort of Skyscanner meets Airbnb for on-demand shared mobility.
Yeah. And have you got a sense of demand for this?
Yes, I have. I've done a reasonable amount of sort of consumer research, questionnaires. I've looked at a lot of stats around declining car ownership for urban millennials in London particularly. I've looked at the offerings that there's things like blah blah Zipcar, their sort of numbers. It does look as though people who don't have access to cars are quite interested in this shared mobility concept.
Yeah, and business model, cash flow, P&L, roughly how much do you need?
Business model is a quite easy business model. I've looked at the Skyscanner metrics and case study around how they've made their revenue, €6 to €8 per referral to the airline site.
Yeah.
I think I would need 10,000 of that. I need about £50,000 to build a sort of an MVP.
Yeah. And is there any existing platform that does the same thing more or less that could be adapted?
Skyscanner white label, but I can't seem to get them to come back. But I mean, I suppose Didi in China are working in 300 cities with exactly this concept.
Are they likely to come out of China and be a competitor?
That's that's the million-dollar question. I mean, there are no moats around this idea. It doesn't exist outside of China at the moment.
Have you got any lines of contact with them?
No, I don't. Not yet.
Okay. And any other competitors or people doing something similar in that domain?
I think in Scandinavia there are two. I forget their names. I've done the research on it. There are two that offer bits of what I'm offering, i.e., short-term car hire, but they don't incorporate things like putting your own car into a carpool and letting it be used as part of that concept.
Yeah. And what amount of money have you been trying to raise?
I have self-funded to a certain extent, and I think I need, certainly for an MVP to test receptibility, I need £50,000.
Yeah, and how much have you put into it so far?
I have my own funding earmarked for 25, but it's sweat equity at the moment.
Yeah. And if you got that 50K and then looked forward, have you got a sense roughly of break even or at least cash positive moment? Is it 6 months, a year, 2 years?
I think it's going to be about 15 months from some initial modeling that I did.
And what's been the reaction so far from what you've done to try to get the 50K?
I think just to look at, uncertainty about what the MVP would look like. I think people want to see something.
Yeah, so it's really brand new. I get this, the difficulty in the disruption, exactly what you're getting at. The people in Scandinavia and China, I'm wondering how much that can be leveraged from understanding the models they use and being able to, if you can't do proof of concept here, because it requires a relatively chunky amount even to get started, what you can do to leverage their success. And therefore it strikes me that, you know, I get a sense of, you haven't said this specifically, but a sense of frustration, and that people just don't get it, and that they're not, you know, you're somehow wanting to get this idea over. And because it's brand new and it's never been done before in this particular domain, I'm wondering how much you can leverage the experiences in China and Scandinavia. And to do that, you need to research them much more. Have real chapter and verse about their numbers in both senses. And it's the cost of acquisition per person that matters, and then the profitability per person using the service. It's those metrics which I think are crucial to then bringing it alive. And I think that would reduce the risk for people looking at the business at the moment. And I think that will give you more chances of success in raising funding. And if I may say so, and I'm sorry, this sounds a little pushy of me to say this in the first call we've just met, but that sort of amount, I would hope you're able to gather among friends and family to begin with. And so that you're not going out to market for at least a year or 18 months by spreading 5 and 10Ks here and there. I hope you don't feel I'm being, you know, disrespectful.
That's very good advice. Great.
And doing it step by step, and then gathering momentum to then go to the outside. And I don't agree that 50K is enough. I think for those models, the Skyscanner for mobility will require hundreds of thousands to get you started. So I think there's that bridge. Friends and family, into the next stage, and hundreds of thousands to bring it to market. Yes.
Okay. So it is quite ambitious. So is there a sense of self-delusion in there? That's
no. No, if you do it incrementally, that's what I'm recommending. So, and one more increment, another 5 or 10K, another few months, another 5 or 10K. And at any moment you feel, you know, fanatic is somebody who doubles their efforts, who's forgotten their original aim.
Yes.
So the moment you feel this isn't going to work, drop it.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Perfect.
Pleasure.